so much. I remember thinking when Oldfields asked me back 3.5 years ago, 3 years ago, I guess, and thinking to myself, oh, I wish Jan was still alive, because I don't think there would have been any person who would have been a better head of Oldfields School, besides Holly, than Jan Scott. It's now my pleasure to also introduce Richard Schubart, who is presently at Exeter, and he's got a role about this long, and he can tell you what it is. But it's so great to have you here and to come such a distance to share your insights about Jan. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor, for the thoughtful introduction, and to Holly, such a wonderful reunion with you, Lisa, Ainsley, Anne, Sways, Kim Burkhardt out there. Kim Burkhardt, we're now. I hear Kim Party here and relay this thoughtful invitation. So many of you who are familiar faces, John, wonderful to reunite with you after too long a time. This is quite the occasion, and as it's not surprising, I think you'll hear in my words very similar tones, adjectives, accolades for Jan, because she affected so many of us so deeply, so profoundly, and so many similar ways. I look at these extraordinary pictures, and this isn't
it's just her.
Jan Scott.
She's right here.
It's just exactly how I first met her. And those of you who are close friends, and John will forgive me for this, but to know her was to fall in love with her. Men and women alike. It just was a fact of life. She was so compelling, so magnetic. Lisa and Holly both refer to her as both student and teacher. And it's always occurred to me that there is a natural born synergy in those two terms that make a whole equation. That is to say, if you are a good student, the best students always want to communicate that accumulation of knowledge with others, to share it, to cherish it by sharing it with others. Equally, the best teachers are always relentless, non-ending, continuous students. Jan was most certainly that. I looked up the 100th Psalm yesterday, and it starts this way. Make a joyful shout to the Lord, all you lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before her presence with singing. Enter into her gates with thanksgiving and into her courts with praise. For the Lord is good. Her steadfast love endures forever, and her truth endures to all generations. Is this not Jan Scott? Jan loved music. She would enter those gates singing, for sure. She was also, as you've heard so eloquently, a linguist, a wordsmith, a philosopher, a student, a teacher, a mentor, an advisor, a director. She was also a traveler. She was a searcher. She was a seeker. She was a founder. She was a trustee. You here, you her close friends, colleagues, supporters, you her former students, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. Who among us here who came to know Jan, to have worked with her, to have shared her love of young people, her experience, her passion for teaching and learning, her relentless sense of inquiry and adventure, can ever testify to anything other than that we were individually and collectively in love with Jan Scott. She was so ecumenical, so expansive, a mind, heart, and soul, that she could take us all into her circle of confidence, the extended family, if you will, of Jan Scott. I first met Jan at the Secondary School Admission Test Board Conference in Washington in the fall of 1988. I was then a new director of admissions at both Exeter Academy, right out of the classroom. And seeing me looking somewhat dazed and bewildered at the numbers of sessions, seminars, new people to meet, Jan came up and asked if she could help. We had never met before. But typically Jan, it turns out, she was the conference organizer. She was also official Greek. And not so surprisingly, she also had her band playing that night. And if you know Jan's music, it was this incredible fusion. It was just as ecumenical and expansive as her intellectual inquiry. It was a band that played blues, rock, country, all in some wonderful togetherness. I remember being smitten with her and being in love with her that night, John. You'll forgive me again. We would only go on to serve on a dozen different boards together. As fast as I went onto a board, I pleaded with my fellow board members to recruit Jan Scott immediately, and Jan did the same for me. And so pretty soon we found ourselves on the board of the Secondary School Admission Test together, the Association of Boarding Schools, the Federation of American and International Schools, the IECA Foundation, where we were both founding trustees, the Baltimore Educational Student Trust, the National Association of Independent Schools, Prep for Prep, Hispanic Youth Group, the Native American Prep School, and Landmark here in Baltimore. Those are just a few. Jan was one of these rare individuals who could make any school, any board, any committee, any group just that much better for her very presence, participation, and leadership. That's how we voted. But ultimately it was the music, the universal language of love, that defined meaning, hope, and the promise of a better life for Jan and for all those of us who came into her circle. She introduced me to this rich variety of music, most of which I had no acquaintance with, but there were two standouts. One was Lyle Lovett. I'm still getting used to Lyle Lovett. It's an acquired taste, I think. But thanks to Jan, she started me on this road, and I was playing a lot of Lyle Lovett last night just to recapture the spirit of Jan. But perhaps most distinctively, most uniquely, most directly, Jan introduced me to the music of Nancy Griffith. And there's a song that I heard at Jan. As a matter of fact, I used to play it here a lot, because what many of you may not know is that I was on leave from Exeter to start in on the creation of the Association of Boarding Schools in Washington. And when Jan got very ill, and I think Kim Laughlin was then the assistant director, and Jan asked if I could come up and help out the team then. And I was, of course, it was such a privilege. So here I was, still connected with Exeter, supposedly putting together the Association of Boarding Schools in Washington, but I come up 1 or 2 days a week to help work with a wonderful team of people here in the name of Jan. And I used to answer the phone. This is Jan Scott. I don't sound like Jan, but I'm filling in for her as best I can. I'm Rick Schubart, down from Phillips Exeter via Washington to help out where I can. And of course, what happened in that was that I was transformed, because I found a much deeper knowledge of Oldfields than I had understood before, and how much care, how much devotion that you spent with every student who came this way to make sure that these girls became extraordinary young women. And I would come back to Exeter. I said, my friends, we have some things to learn from a much smaller, much different school than we. But if we took care of each and every student that came our way, all 1,000 of them, in the same way that Oldfields takes care of its young people, we'll be better off. It was a lesson I never forgot. There are lessons to be learned from everywhere. But here's Nancy Griffith, and I just think this is so Jan, so if you'll forgive me, I'm just going to quote you a few lines. I listened to this 10 times last night. From a distance, the world looks blue and green, and the snow-capped mountains so white. From a distance, the ocean meets the stream, and the eagle takes the flight. From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It is the voice of hope. It is the voice of peace. It is the voice of every woman. From a distance, we all have enough, and no one is in need. There are no guns, no bombs, and disease. No hungry mouths to feed. For a moment, we must be instruments, marching in a common band, playing songs of hope, playing songs of peace, with the songs of every woman. God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance. What we need is love and harmony. Let it echo through the land. It's the hope of hopes, the love of loves. It's the heart of everyone. It's the hope of hopes. It's the love of loves.